everybody, it's Lasha from High Voltage. That's my little introduction to Ask Not. If you've never been to this channel before, go to change.org, literally search my name, and you can read why. Now, those goals have changed. So, we're going to pick up where I left last night, where I was a little sleepyhead. So, we were talking about Mary Richardson Kennedy, and as you'll recall, Mary Richardson Kennedy was married to Bobby Kennedy Jr. So, JFK Jr. and Bobby Kennedy Jr. were first cousins. Okay? When I was reading this last night, I've had mixed feedback. Try not to do accents and I understood why that was said because I wasn't doing them correctly, but I sure was trying. And then other people have said, I like your interjections and your thoughts. And then some people have said, read it. So what I'm going to do, a lot of the other review channels last longer because they interject. I'm not going to do that because there's so many angles, so many opinions, and in the questions I've tried to change the strategy in reference to this 15 times. I'm going to read as much as I can out loud without interrupting. When we get to mid-September, so in 10 days, we'll be halfway, 3/4 through this book by then. Then I'm going to have a live and we can talk about it. Okay? Because Trevor and I can go live together, Melody Moon and I can go live together. And one thing I want you all to look forward to is I am interviewing Melody Moon about her family. I know nothing about her family because I find people's lives extraordinary. And I'm a very good interviewer. However, Mary Richardson Kennedy, her husband treated her just terribly. Bobby Kennedy Jr. treated her terribly. And what kept going through my mind is the psychology of these men. Based on the chapters we've been through Carolyn Bessette and JFK Jr. and how he was a doof and they called him a himbo. And she was the alpha, he was the beta. He got off on her insulting him. She turned into a hippie. He is to put other women's lives in danger with his risk-taking and thrill-taking psychology. And I want to get into why I believe I understand his psychology. But can we ever really? It's 1 in a million, 1 in 2, 5 million people that make it to that level of fame and fortune, to have a legendary dynasty throughout American history that, simultaneously we studied American history in Canada. So he treated her terribly. Just the way Jack treated Jackie Kennedy terribly when we went through Jackie, and the way he treated the girls, Diane and Mary, and now Mary Richardson Kennedy, and they wanted him to marry somebody like Jackie. And it's interesting, one of the quotes in this book, Off From Memory, is how Jackie and Mary Richardson and Marilyn Monroe all had those very soft voices. And that can be a lot to do with child abuse or, not treating children correctly. Now, the other thing I want to talk about the power of prayer and the anorexic girl and why I'm so sickened by what's going on with transgender, and we will get to that later, but I thought that was interesting. So we left off with only the people who lived there knew it, okay? And those Kennedys stuck together like a darn cult. You couldn't get inside. It's like the royal family. I'm also going to be talking about my thoughts on Meghan and Harry 100% honestly, and things I predicted on my channel have come true. It's the truth. Anyways, let me just adjust this, okay? So you can see my mug, okay? I'm vaping now instead of anything else. So ask not. We're continuing with Mary Richardson Kennedy, and I'm not speaking after this. Now, 3 years after that triumph, she could barely get out of bed. On the days when she summoned enough energy to take the kids to school, Mary was often in ratty pajama bottoms, her hair unkempt. You have to pull yourself together, the other mothers told her. You're a Kennedy. You can't go around looking like this. In those moments, Mary would think, none of you could do what I do. None of you could hack being a Kennedy wife. It was something Mary had in common with Carolyn Bessette, married to Bobby's cousin, Robert John Jr., almost every day. Mary dealt with the assumption that came not just from other women, but also from tabloids and esteemed historians, that being a Kennedy wife, especially the wife of the namesake, the eldest son of the beloved Mary Red leader, meant you were special. It was never the other way around. That you'd chosen him, that you'd chosen this, that behind the scenes you were the brains, the mover, the shaker, the one who got things done. And if you failed in any way, everyone, including your husband, would let you know. Their contempt, sometimes hidden, mostly not. Look at the world I brought you into, the wealth and fame and admiration handed to you on this family silver platter. How dare could it be? As Carolyn said every time her husband asked her the very question. I didn't get that Kanji employee handbook. It was cutting and true. Kennedy men tended to treat their women as afterthoughts. Even the adored John Jr., the ne plus ultra of Kennedy men, could be guilty of this. He was hardly like his father, and a deserved credit for that. He took his marriage seriously, and he said, at the onset, had every intention of being faithful. But he and Bobby Jr. had the male Kennedy entitlement, the expectation that their wives should be mind readers, hostesses who could throw together a dinner for 12 at last minute, the uncomplaining cool girl if her husband didn't come home when he said he would, if he was an hour or a day or a week late. The good Kennedy wife would just brush that off. And of course, a wandering eye. Bobby's wandering eye was just a part of the deal. Ooh, congenial, generational, baked in, the original recipe Kennedy. Oh God, I want to open my mouth. For all the comparisons she drew to Jackie, Mary was really most like Carolyn. Both were from Apple, apple. Most were from upper middle class homes. Carolyn as a top advisor to Calvin Klein, and both were habituates of the firm. The downtown New York scene, Mary running with a Warhol crowd, and Carolyn with actors and models at exclusive 12-cent solo night clubs. Both had far more edge than their husbands, more style. They were cooler and smarter and quicker.